Cleanliness is next to godliness. Is a very great spiritual statement, but very unfortunately, it has been misunderstood. People take it to mean external cleanliness, while external cleanliness is extremely important for our health and well-being. The spiritual person, the intelligent person, the wise, lays emphasis on inner cleanliness. That means physical, mental, and emotional purity. Purity means to be identified with the purest state of our being, which is pure consciousness. To be identified with the purest state of our being means to be disidentified with the physical body, with our emotional process, with the mental process. And this is achieved only by regular and deep meditation. In deep meditation, the individual realizes that he is a pure consciousness beyond name, form and color, having no beginning, no end, that is boundless. To achieve that state of being, the body, the mind and the heart, all three have to be purified. How to purify all of them, and what does purity means in this context? Physical purity means the right type of food, exercise to get rid of the physical impurities which we accumulate through eating. Mental purity means to clean the mind of all impressions. During our lifetime and for many incarnations, we accumulate a great amount of impressions on the mirror of our mind, and these prevents us to have clear and direct perception. Mental purity can be attained by regular meditation, by deep breathing, by concentration, by yoga, by tantra, and many other spiritual disciplines. Every single thought leaves an impression on our mind. All the emotions that we experience during our life also leaves impression on our mind. But as the mind becomes sharper, as our consciousness expands, all these impressions are burnt away. Then only the mind becomes like a clean mirror, and then only the true nature of life, of the self, of all the realities of existence reflect in it. It is only then that we become a wise, we become a seer. Emotional purity is attained by accepting all our emotions, by living them without suppression, and then of course going beyond them. Because emotions like greed, anger, attachment, jealousy, pity, and you name it, are in a raw state. Same can be transformed into compassion, into love, into forgiveness, and many other virtues. Our raw emotions can be transformed only by focusing fully on them. This means by meditating on them, by becoming more aware of them, without suppression, without rejection, because emotions are the juice of life. Accept them, leave them, but go beyond them. Why we have to go beyond our emotions? Here we have to understand that there is one thing which nature gives us, and it is a totally different thing with what we can do with what nature gives us. By transcending the natural, we experience the supernatural. So mental purity, emotional purity, physical purity is absolutely essential to attain Buddhahood. So the saying that cleanliness is next to godliness refers to pure spiritual realization. It has to do with spiritual practices. It is an inner experience, not an outer or external experience. That has to be understood. Many people lay emphasis on external purity, and they even use it as escape to avoid the disciplines, the practices that leads to internal purity, which is much more difficult and demands great courage to go through. Internal purity is attained by going through the fire of acceptance, awareness, and regular meditation. Therefore, yes, cleanliness is definitely next to godliness, but it has to be understood that here we are speaking about inner cleanliness. So my emphasis, my proposal is on mental, emotional, and physical cleanliness or purity rather than external purity. Remember, Jesus said, it is not those things that goes inside us that makes us impure, but rather those stuffs like greed, anger, lust, hatred, jealousy, and so on, that comes from us, that comes from our heart and our mind, that really makes us unclean.